A very good afternoon, everybody. Day of semester 3 students presentations. This is the evening session, and let us have a look at the list of the students who are going to make presentation today. Today we have the topic, that is literary theory and criticism, as well as film studies. Let me share a screen to see the list of the students and their topics. Okay, so first we will start with Hina's presentation on the montage technique in the film studies, followed by Hetal on challenging gender stereotypes through feminist criticism. Gopi's will be on role of lighting techniques, lighting technique in film and television. Ghanshyam on exploring the intersection of digital humanities and English studies. Gayatri on Marxist criticism. Drashti on queer representation in cinema. Drashtis on queer representation in cinema. Then Bhavyata on reading cyber feminism in social media. Avani's on zoo criticism. Anjali's on deconstruction in literary theory and analytical exploration. And finally, Aarti's will be on the role of sound in film. Okay, so let us start with the first presentation of the day. Unmute the mic first there. You have to again join StreamYard and then you have to share.
Hello everyone, my name is Hina Parmar and today I am going to deal with the topic the montage technique in the film studies. Here is my personal information, table of contents. So, first I'm going to start with what is film studies. Film studies is like a class where we can where we can study films. Film studies is a discipline in the process of inventing itself, and it was exciting to be at the cutting edge. What is cinema? An English language edition of the writings of Coherence cinema critic Andrew Bazin was published in 1971 and formed a basic for influential work around medium, specificity and realism and cinema. In France, in the late 1940s, the filmolog movement had called for a serious study of film, and the 1950s saw several efforts at naming the field. Cinematology was one suggestion. By the 1970s, though, film studies had become the most widely adopted name for the discipline. What is montage? Montage is a combination of several short videos and for understanding it is in a better way. Montage is like a photo album where many photos there, and it create a memory and it create a lifelong memory. The word montage originated from the French verb monter, which means to mount or to assemble. According to the filmmaker's idea, montage in a film study refers to combining scenes together according to the original idea to make it produce comparison, association, and foil back the scene to complete works of film and television. But according to Ed Sicko, states that montage describe the various ways in which filmmakers string individual shots together to form a series. So montage is a kind of a thing through which filmmaker can create a story, telling a story, and it also create important impact in cinema or in a movie. Development of montage. Lee states montage has two types of theories. First theory is the Sergei Eisenstein's montage theory, headed by the Soviet Union director and film theorist, who insisted that using the film editing technique to rearrange the cinema series will produce a new meaning. The second one theory is about French film theorist Andrew Bazin's long lens theory. And in this theory, he considered that the montage techniques destroy a film's truth, and the new meanings that are produced by the montage combinations are a performance of behaviorism. However, the first theory has been used in real life widely and is a cause to set up the film industry. Thus, most famous representation can be seen in Hollywood. Sergei Eisenstein's theory is the famous one theory, and it also used in Hollywood for most of the time. The role of the montage. In we know that in silent era, the film could make the audience laughing through the extra exaggerated movement and expressions. But now, with the science and technology's development, the simple action and expressions can't satisfy the audience psychological needs. So, because of that, the movies which have the gorgeous colors, wonderful music, compact, rhythmic, and the perfect plot, all of those have become the measure scale that film is good looking or not. For an example, the after movie in these movies there were many gorgeous colors, and we can also feel the good music in that, and the movies like 2012 and Inception. Those movies are the best example for this for this our modern movies, which is an example of a montage. Alternative to expression and narrative montage. So basically there were two style of montage. First is American style montage, and the second one is Soviet style montage. The famous one and most used style is the Soviet style montage. And American style montage is it, in simple term montage. In this, the simple term montage sequence relies upon editing to condense or expand action space or time. In Soviet style montage, there is a famous filmmaker who is Sergei Eisenstein, is the master of this kind of montage, and especially the Soviet style montage. Eisenstein believed that montage is a conflict of graphic directions, scales, volumes, masses, and depth. He explained how the different individual shots can create a new meaning. Shot 1 plus shot B can create a new meaning, and or an example, thesis plus antithesis is equal to synthesis. Sergei Eisenstein believes that there were in this style of montage, there were two shots can also create a new meaning. For an example, a dog plus a mouth is a symbol of to bark, and a mouth plus a child to scream, and a mouth plus bird to sing, and a knife plus heart is equal to sorrow. And another example of this, a man with dead woman is a symbol of they represent sadness. A man plus tea or food represent hunger. A man plus a woman who is lying on a sofa is represent lust. Montage method and types improved by Eisenstein. There were 5 types of montage according to Eisenstein. Metric montage. This montage depends upon the length of the shots in a sequence or a scene. For an example, Rocky Third Eye of the Tiger. This is the example of this. And second one is rhythmic montage. If metric montage depends upon the limits, timing, and arrangement of shots in a scene. Rhythmic montage is based on the content of the shots and scene. In this, there is a most famous director who is Edgar Wright. And for an example, there is a movie Baby Driver and Shaun of the Dead is a best example for rhythmic montage. And the third one is the tonal montage. It refers to the combination of shots with contrasting light and shade. And fourth one is overtonal montage. Is a combination of metric, rhythmic, and tonal montage. For overtonal montage, we can consider a movie like Parasite. Here I embedded video, but it occurred an error. In the Parasite movie, there were a scene where one family is tricked to another family, and in few months they get a job in that house. And this sequence is a fast sequence, and it changes time by time, and it's create a story, or it create a different meaning in the this sequence is so fast that story occurs so rapid that we can understand it in a better way. And this represent overtonal montage. And intellectual montage. Eisenstein was master of the intellectual or ideological montage. This is the montage in which new suggestive meanings are created through visual analogies and comparisons. And a critic of montage, its fall and challenges ahead for cinema. Revolutionary filmmakers like Jean-Louis Godard, Chris Marker, Latin American filmmakers Fernando Solanes, Octavia Getigno, Santiago Alvarez, and Thomas Gutierrez, LA used a modernist mode heavily influenced by a Soviet understanding of montage from the dialectual and Marxist point of view. As animation and digital editing tools uh, 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 augmented reality and artificial intelligence are revolutionarizing cinema and visual cultures at large across language and cultures. It would be interesting to see the survival and transformations of montage and film form in a near future. So as we know that animation and digital editing tools and some artificial intelligence tools were.
Camera is maybe USB is more, so you need to put a stereotype. Remove USB and remove.
So, as we know that in modern world, as animation and digital tools, editing tools, and artificial intelligence, those were the things which were growing so fast. Uh, so we can make a best scene or a film through artificial intelligence, and it create a beautiful and we can enjoy that kind of movie. We have to that is the thing that our montage technique is last long for the future, or it change by the time, or it can be cancelled by the filmmakers or not. Conclusion: a good works of film and television cannot do without the editing art. The excellent editing cannot do without the support of montage theory and practice in the film editing. Montage theory is in the continuous development and improvement theory. So montage is the thing that is the important in filmmaking, because filmmaker can make a story or create a short scene with the help of montage, which can impact the movie, and it also enjoyed by the audience. These are some references. Thank you. And now I'm open for question. Do you have any question?
Hina, how does the pacing of montage contribute to the overall impact of the scene?
The pacing of the montage contribute to the overall impact of the scene. Yes. For an example, the montage which were fast moving and fast have fast cuts, it create excitement or create a it also create excitement or it also create a tension. And and slow montage, slow montage which have slow cuts or long cuts, it also it impact the movie, and it create emotions in a better way.
Hina, what role does montage play in the field of film studies?
In the film studies, montage played a vital role. To the help of montage, filmmaker can create scene. If the filmmaker wants to tell a story in a less time, and also he wanted to add his creativity and his a creative style of storytelling, then he or she can create a montage to tell a story. And montage is important in every kind of movie. And if the montage is very good and have best shots and good music, it create important impact in movie. Thank you so much for hearing me. Thank you.
So can I start? Hello everyone, a very good noon to you all. On the fourth day of presentation season semester 3, my topic is challenging gender stereotypes through feminist criticism in the paper of Western theories and film studies. These are my academic details, and these are some of the important points which I am going to discuss in my presentation. And beginning with the quotations of feminism, in that one is of Chimamanda's quote, and another is of Rebecca West quote about feminism. First one is: the problem with gender is that it prescribes how we should be rather than recognizing how we are. Imagine how much happier we would be, how much freer to be our true individual selves if we didn't have the weight of gender expectations. This quote is of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's book, We Should All Be Feminist. In that book, she quoted that this quote suggests that we all will be very free and happy if we do not have the weightage of gender expectations on ourselves. And that is how she explains or gave her point of view, that what is she thinking about the weightage of gender expectations among the individual. And another quote is of Rebecca West in her book, that the young Rebecca Wright. She is a British writer and a spokesperson of feminism, and her book she quoted that I myself have been never able to find out precisely what feminism is. I only know that people call me a feminist whenever I express my sentiments that differentiate me from a doormat or a prostitute. So this quote suggests that the term feminism is difficult to define, because it is about it is about multifaceted concept, and that is why the term is hardly or difficult to define, because it deals with several different interpretations. And introduction of feminism. Feminism is an interdisciplinary approach to issues of equality and equity based on gender expression, gender identity, sex, and sexuality as understood through social theories and political activism. Historically, feminism has evolved from the critical examination of inequality between the sexes to a more nuanced focuses on the social and performative constructions of gender and sexuality. Anytime stereotyping, objectification, infringements of human rights, or international oppression occurs, it is considered as a feminist issue. So that is a simple understanding or definition of feminism, that it is an interdisciplinary approach which discusses or describe about the issues of equality and equity based upon the genders. And continuing with this, Sara Ahmed, in her book Living a Feminist Life, shows that how feminist theory is generated from everyday life and the ordinary experiences of being a feminist at work as well as at home. She offers a poetic and personal meditation on how feminists become estranged from words. The critic and feminists learn about words from their efforts to transform them. So we can say that Sara Ahmed is a British Australian writer and a scholar whose areas of study includes the she is an Australian writer, and also we can say that scholar of feminism, and her area of study includes the intersection of feminist theory, lesbian feminism, and also queer theory. So in her book Living a Feminist Life, she describes these many points, that she begins studying feminism by defining it as a life question. In her book, she shows that how feminist theory is generated from everyday life, and it impacts upon the life of every human being, as well as what are the experiences of being a feminist, not only at the workplaces but also at the home. So she begins studying feminism by defining it as a life question. Further, intersectionality in feminism. It means that it recognizes that individuals are shaped by multiple factors such as race, gender, class, and sexuality. So that is how she defines the intersectionality in feminism, that it deals with multiple concepts. Then performativity of gender, and this theory, this concept is taken from the philosopher of Judith Butler and the feminist Killjoy. So these are some of the important concepts which Sara Ahmed discusses in her book Living a Feminist Life. So that is also we can understand or consider whenever we are talking about the concept of feminism or literary feminist criticism. What is feminist criticism? Feminist literary criticism knows as the critical analysis of literary works based on the feminist perspective. The modern feminist movements origins from the second sex by Simone de Beauvoir. One is not born but rather becomes a woman. Classic and far-reaching feminist works created by important feminists, and it includes The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir, then Sexual Politics by Kate Millett, Thinking About Women by Mary Ellman, and The New Feminist Criticism, Essays on Women, Literature and Theory by Ellen Scholter. Significant key terms are the patriarchy, the other, and the second sex. So whenever we are discussing about the concept of feminist criticism, we also have to see that how it originates, and what are the works that created by the important feminist, and also the important key terms, that how the patriarchy was there, how the male dominance was there, and all that works are very much important. And we can also add the work of Virginia Woolf in one's own room, so that we can also take here as an important work. Continuing with this, Lisa Tuttle defines feminist literary as asking new questions of old texts. She cites the goals of feminist criticism as to develop and uncover a female tradition of writing, to interpret symbolism of women's writing so that it will not be lost or ignored by the male point of view, to rediscover the old texts, and to analyze women writers and their writings from a female perspective, to resist sexism in literature, and to increase awareness of the sexual politics of language and style. So this Lisa Tuttle is also one of the important figure in the area of feminist criticism, and she cites the goals of feminist criticism, that we have to uncover a female tradition of writing, and also we have to analyze the symbolism of women's writing. So that is why it cannot be ignored by male point of view, and that is why we can put emphasis on the importance of female writing. Then in understanding stereotypes, a gender stereotype is a generalized view or perception about attributes or characteristics or the roles that are or ought to be possessed by or performed by both women and men. A gender stereotype is harmful when it limits women and men's capacity to develop their personal abilities as well as opportunities. Naomi Elimetz, who is a psychologist, observed that stereotypes about the way men and women think and behave are widely shared. However, stereotypical expectations not only reflect existing differences, but it also impact the way that men and women define themselves and are treated by others. So, when I was searching about that how gender stereotypes works, I came across to this one of the articles by Naomi Elmers, who is a psychologist, and in that article she has very well defined the nature of stereotype, that how it works for both the men and women, and it is a very harmful when it comes to suppress the abilities of both men and women. So that is why it is harmful also. and deconstructing gender stereotypes in one of the Bollywood film, Mardani. So here I have taken the example of Mardani film because we have to deconstruct the idea of gender stereotypes. It is argued that in Bollywood film Mardani, Rani Mukherjee's character is as a representation of the rarest of the rare. The film claims to show empowerment. Women who are socially subordinate to men are stereotyped as being nicer, which is all too evident in the way that women are presented in Hindi cinema. In this case, Rani Mukherjee's character Shivani is not portrayed as being subordinate to her husband nor to the men she works with. In fact, in the Mardani film, the character of Shivani is like wholly devoted to her work and almost displays a fanatic zeal and dogmatic determination like a man in capturing and punishing the offender. By giving Rani Mukherjee such attributes, the director is stereotyping her and associating her with the notion of her rarest of the rare, so that she cannot prove to be role model to the Indian woman. So whenever we are talking about Bollywood or Hindi cinema, we see the portrayal of female characters that they are in one or the other way they are portrayed as a traditional woman. But here in this film Mardani, what characteristics we generally see in the male, here we can see in the character of Shivani, which is played by Rani Mukherjee. So that is why the director is deconstructing the idea of gender stereotypes in this movie. And concluding my presentation, feminist criticism is a powerful tool for challenging and deconstructing deeply ingrained gender stereotypes that persist in our society. And these are my references which I have used in my presentation. And yes, now I am open for questions.
Why it is important to challenge and question traditional gender roles in literature and media.
Okay. So, as I have already discussed in my presentation, that gender stereotype is not only related to women, but it also related to men. And if we will not deconstruct the idea of gender stereotypes, then it will remain as it is. So, it can gender stereotypes is always harmful when it limits the opportunities which is given which is there for male and female. But we have to deconstruct the idea of we can say that gender stereotypes, because the characteristics that only men can do this or only women can do this, there is no anything concept like this. We have to break the idea of that, and that is why it is very much important to deconstruct the idea.
Hetal, my question is, how does the influence of gender stereotypes shape the depiction of male and female characters in any works, any literary works?
Okay. So the gender stereotypes shape the depiction of both male and female characters in different ways. For male, it is about that they have to conform their masculinity roles, and they have to suppress their emotional feelings, as it is always said that a man cannot cry in front of anyone. And for women, it is also saying that they have to perform their traditional duties towards the homes, and they cannot do whatever they want. And for female, it suppressed their opportunities. So that is why it influences the depiction of male and female characters both in the negative way as well as in positive manner. But it is more negative when it comes to the suppression of their opportunities. So that is why it influences both, like male and female characters. So that's it from my side, and thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Gopi Dervaliya. Today, I am going to deal with this topic: the role of lighting technique in film and television. This is my personal information. Table of content. In my presentation, I am going to deal with this topic. So first, why do we need lighting techniques? So in this slide emphasizes the vital role of lighting technique in film and television. So it starts a historical perspective. Our noting that our ability to control light began with fire, and it's start and it's underlined that how lighting technique serves both creative and technical purpose. And this slide also highlight that how lighting technique is important in film and video production. And also mentioned in this slide that camera camera serve differently, cameras in different lighting differently rather than human eye. So lighting is important in video and film production because cameras do not respond to light in the same way that the human eye. The finite detail and lighting contrast a human eye can see are incredibly development, and cameras cannot process or pick up on this as well. Additional lighting is necessary to make the definition of a video or film's definition of a comparable quality to what the human eye sees naturally. The more advanced the video and film production, the more advanced the lighting behind it. In this slide, uh, uh, here is some key objectives of lighting, like setting the mood and time and season, and directing attention and perspective and colors, modeling and decor lighting, and consistent shadows, and separate backlighting, and technical control. Importance of lighting. So in this slide provides us historical significance of lighting, and also the how importance of lighting in cinematography. So lighting in the past relied on fuel combustion, with wood being the earliest source. Kerosene discovered in the 19th century, and it's play a very crucial role in illuminating the rural communities. And also the cinematography is responsible for presenting the film's content to the audience visually. Effective lighting is essential for storytelling, and also the lighting is a fundamental element of cinematography, ensuring a successful outcome in filmmaking. So these elements are what make up the content of the film. The way in which it is presented to the audience is all down to cinematography. The director of photography or a cinematographer has a huge hand in all the visual decisions we see when making a film. If you see a film that is poorly, it doesn't matter how good the story is. Lighting is vital in showing the audience a narrative. Proper lighting is one of the key elements of good cinematography, essential to ensuring a successful outcome. In this slide, Fellini, one of cinema's greatest director, and he emphasizes the paramount role of lighting in film and video production. And he says that light is what brings depth to the story. Here is some primitive light sources like oil lamps, fire, and candle. The oil lamp is one of the earliest and most primitive sources of artificial lighting in human history, dating back thousands of years. And fire, it predates recorded civilization and has been harnessed by early humans by harnessing natural sources like wood, flint, and kindling. The discovery of the fire for illumination marked a transformative moment in human history. And early candles were crafted from materials such as tallow, means animal fat, and beeswax with a central wick. The development of the candle not only illuminated homes, temples, and streets, but also contributed to the progress of various fields, including science, literature, and industry. These are some pictures of primitive light sources like oil lamps and fire baskets. Difference between lights, natural lighting versus artificial lighting, and high key lighting versus low key lighting. So in natural lighting, create a realistic and authentic look like sunlight and moonlight. And in artificial lighting, these are some four types of lighting in use in artificial lighting, like tungsten lights, fluorescent lights, and LEDs or HMI lights. High key versus low key lighting. In high key lighting, it is often associated with genres like comedy and romantic films. It creates a cheerful and uplifting atmosphere. And in low key, it is commonly used in genres like film noir, horror, and thrillers to create a sense of tension, mystery, and suspense. Types of light sources. Here are four types of lighting sources. First is the tungsten lights. They are generally known as quartz lamps or tungsten halogen lights. Then HMI lights, medium arc iodide globes repeat the advanced content in a daylight type lighting technology. Then fluorescent lights. Most of the industrial fluorescent tubes, such as those used in supermarkets, office, and airports, represent the light source with a broken spectrum, where the electrified gas inside a fluorescent tube emits only a few distinctive wavelengths. Then LED lights, LED or light emitting diodes have become the fast developing technology for lighting. The trend started with very flat light panels, extremely useful, and started with very flat light panels and lighting in the tight quarters, such as inside a car. These are some pictures of LED lights, HMI lights. Emotional impact, brightness, and intensity. So in high brightness, evoke positive emotions like joy, happiness, and optimism. And in low brightness, instill feelings of suspense, fear, or sadness. In color temperature, warm colors and cool colors. So in warm colors, for example, red, orange, and yellows can create a cozy and inviting atmosphere, conveys feeling of love, passion, or nostalgia. In cool colors, for example, blue and greens can evoke emotions of calmness, melancholy, or isolation. It's often used to create a sense of detachment or sadness. Lighting in close-up. In close-up shots, lighting emphasizes emotions on a character's face, highlighting their expressions and feelings. Differences between film and television lighting. Constraints. In film, filmmakers generally have more time to set up and light scenes in film production. In television productions, especially in the case of live broadcasts and series with tight schedules, may have limited time for lighting setup. Camera movement. In film, cameras often allow for more dynamic and complex movements. Cinematographers can also lighting setups that accommodate these movements, knowing they will have more control over the final edit. In television, cameras, especially in live or multi-camera setups, may have more limited uh, time. Budget constraints in film productions, especially for major motion pictures, often have larger budget, and in television, particularly for lower budget series or live broadcasts, may have to make do with more cost effective lighting solutions. Location versus studio. In film productions frequently shoot on location, which can pose unique lighting challenges due to changing natural light conditions. In television series, particularly studio-based ones, have more controlled environments where lighting can be consistent from one episode to the next. Future trend of lighting like LED lighting, color tunable lighting, wireless and remote lighting, AI lighting, and holographic and laser lighting. So LED lighting revolution, in that lighting emitting diode technology has revolution the industry. LED light are energy efficient, long lasting, and offer a wide range of color, temperature, and intensity adjustment. In a color tunable lighting, allowing cinematographers to adjust the color temperature and create different moods and looks without needing gels or filters. Wireless and remote lighting setups can now be controlled wirelessly, enable real-time adjustments during a shoot. This flexibility allow for more dynamic and efficient lighting changes. AI enhanced lighting, artificial intelligence is being used to automate lighting control, making real time adjustments based on facial recognition and scene analysis. Holographic and laser lighting, experimental technologies like holographic and laser based lighting are pushing the boundaries of what is possible, creating unique and immersive lighting effects. In conclusion, the role of lighting in film and television is a dynamic and essential aspect of visual storytelling. From the early use of primitive light like oil lamp, candle, and fire to cutting edge lighting technology, it continues to evolve, shaping the emotional impact of sense and defining aesthetics and enhancing the audience's immersive experience. As emerging trends in lighting technology and techniques redefine the boundaries of creativity, it is clear that lighting remains a powerful and evolving tool in the hands of filmmakers and control creators, contributing to the art and magic of cinematic storytelling. So, in conclusion, this presentation we can see that how lighting is important and play a vital role in film and television production. These are some references. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Gopi, my question is, what are some of the emerging trends in lighting technology and techniques that are reshaping the film and television industry?
Okay. Uh, some of the emerging trends like um, uh, in seeing this presentation, we can see in this my presentation that uh, include the use of color tube light and green light and laser light, and also the um, uh, RGB lighting, HMI lighting, LED lighting is emerging trends in lighting technology. In contemporary time, we can also see that this artificial remote controlling light. So we can see that we can say that these emerging trends reshaping the film and television industry.
Gopi, my question for you is that in what ways can filmmakers use lightning to guide the audience attention to specific scenes? specific elements within a scene.
Okay. Um, Filmmaker can use lightning to guide the audiences, like um, more brightest light and also more contrasted lighting. Filmmaker uses in like filmmaker use a horror scene or sad scene, so they can use red light or and red light makes scene horror, and filmmaker also uses this type of lighting in his filmmaking. So audience can attention to specific elements, and a filmmaker uses this type of lighting through make his scene very horror or very sad or among others. So we can see that filmmaker can use brightest or most contrasted lighting in filmmaking.
Hello everyone, my name is Katariya Ghanshyam, and my today's presentation topic is exploring the intersection of digital humanities and English studies. This is my introduction. Table of content. In this presentation, I will discuss introduction of the digital humanities in English studies, way of looking at it, digital humanity in practice, and conclusion. Introduction. Digital humanity is a leading edge of applying computer-based technology to the field of humanities. Initially, it was called as humanities computing, but now it is called officially digital humanities, and uh, it is in process and practice around 40 years or so now. It originally focused on developing digital tools and the creation of archives and databases for texts, artworks, and other materials. The key to understand the digital humanity is to reject the idea that digital technology is invading the academic. Computer networks, particularly the internet, have also enabled digital files to be used from almost anywhere on the globe. This access to information has led a tremendous effect on the ability to undertake research in the art and humanities. Digital humanity in English studies. Here, the Matthew Kishenbaum have given 6 reasons for digital humanities to be used in Department of English or English Studies. Those 6 reasons are: first is that after numeric input, text is very much can be manipulated into the data type of the computers. Second is the long association between computers and composition, as from the earlier use of computer, the writing and text was also applied from the computers. Third is the intense conversation around editorial theory and methods, and the means to implement electronic archives and edition. The fourth reason is too modest but much prompted Bell Electric's project around hypertext and other form of electronic literature. So it is also enabling to create hypertext, textual literature, and electronic literature. Fifth reason is that English departments are very open for this kind of studies or cultural studies, where they are accepting such a practice into their curriculum. And final is that the simultaneous explosion of interest in e-reading and e-book devices. As the time is progressing, people are moving from the physical copy of literary works to e-copy or audiobooks and other things. Now, a way of looking at it. So in here, the Martin Paul EU, in his introduction of his book, the Digital Humanities and Literary Studies, he's saying, I quote, sapping all of the conventional funding of the traditional humanities pursuits, the so-called digital humanities, or DH, to those in the know, brings a grim entrepreneurialism and technocratic mindset to English, history, classics, archaeology, and any other disciplinary space on which it can lay its hand. So it seems that he have this view of that he is not very accepting this idea of digital humanities in favor of traditional humanities. So here it a little bit seems disagreeable here, as I will discuss in further in this presentation, that how the digital humanities is used in English teaching and literature. Here the Martin Paul Eve says that similarly charged with perverting the humanities foundation of critical thinking, replacing them with a techno solutionist mindset, the digital humanities are growing and thriving beneath our noses, and many seem not even to have noticed the danger. So he is here interpreting the digital humanities as a danger for the traditional humanities and its view. And also in his book, and later in the introduction, he is saying that as my provocation in this book, I instead argue that digital methods can bring us closer to literary text, to give us a new viewport through which to observe their narrative. So he is also aggressive for this, but he is also not denying the fact that it is making people closer to the literary text, as the digitalization of literature. So practice of digital humanities in digital humanity in practice. So here is the example I have choose this webinar page of this MKBU site, or in our departments some seminars and work that reflects this digital humanity practice. We create through our coursework the digital portfolio. Also, we go through the blended learning teaching aptitude. Also, we have this session of presentation. Two presentation session has already passed, and this is our third presentation is going on. And we also go through some of workshop or seminars throughout academic years for teaching and learning the digital skill and use of digital tools. It is very much in practice here. And also, if we see in a broader sense, then some other works are also in practice that are making very easy the literary criticism, and with the help of digital humanities. Here is this project, Click Dickens project. In this project, there is a large corpus of this work of Dickens and other children literature and other authors' work, and it is giving this practice of using if we want to learn from here the thematic representation or some study, then we can quickly go through this, and we can connect the dots through this large corpus of information. Also, the Google Books is also giving this ngram viewer to search for some phrases and works in literary works that here it is saying that 500 billion words and 5.2 million books are published between 1500 and 2008. So it has this large number of data, so we can easily go through this and create. We also can apply in our research and our work. So then there are some other archive project also, like National Digital Library of India, or the old days of here is Rossetti Archive, and some other are Victorian Web or Wayback Machine or Internet Archive. Now, for the conclusion, the digital humanities is in practice for more than 30 or 40 years, but yet we have much information about it, or we are not very conscious about it. So many of us might not think of it very progressively, but as time is changing, the digital humanity is also changing, and the archival and corpus and all the things are were already in progress and processing throughout years, but now it is also the era in the 21st century. This is also era of AI. As AI is developing, all the things becomes essential to learn. If we are not progressive into that digital uses, we cannot be ready for this also, and it will create very much problem for those who are not in practice of digitalization. So here are some AI tools like Bard, ChatGTP, Bing Chat, or Daily, or this other AI tools like Open Mid Journey, or this Gamma, which are creating in artwork or in literature or in teaching. Very much havoc for those who are not believing in it, but it is also creating easiness, or we can say it is also already made in practice for those who are going with the time, and it is creating something that is very fast. The phenomenon is that because the archival and other things are becoming old, and these AI tools are creating new things. So thank you, everyone. This is my resources, and now you can ask me questions.
Ghanshyam, my question is that as you mentioned about traditional and digital humanities, could you please provide more insight into their differences and similarities?
As we can say that traditional humanities is relying on the data that are already printed or in the library. So if we can say that the traditional humanities cannot be very much supporting in this digital era where everything is very fast, and research is made fast by digital humanities, or those tools and skills in the digital era. So we also have to cope up with it, because it is already in progress and it already has made its mark in digitalization. So we can say that if we are sticking to the old traditional humanities, then we are lagging behind so much things. So this that's how it is creating difference between both of them.
Ghanshyam, my question is that what impact has the digital era had on the teaching and pedagogy of English studies, and how can an educator leverage digital tools effectively?
So digital era is not something that is recently happened, but throughout the year it was progressing, and those who were aware about it were already using it, practicing it in teaching or literature. So it is not something that suddenly came out in recent time, but it was already progressing. But those who were not using it, or were not not aware of it, those only thinks that it is something new, but it is already in it is applied in teaching and literature. So thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Gayatri Nimavat. Hello everyone, I am Gayatri Nimavat. On the fourth day of our presentation, I am going to deal with the topic Marxist criticism. This is my personal information. This is the entire roadmap of my presentation. Marxist culture theory originated in the work of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the 19th century. These both are the prominent of Karl Marx of the Marxist theory. The Marx and Engels analysis of a society and the condition of production spilled over into an analysis of culture. Marxist criticism is a mode of literary and cultural analysis that views work of art as product of their historical and material context. Then who started it? The answer is Karl Marx. Karl Marx was a revolutionary sociologist, historian, and economist. He was a bourgeois Jew from a predominantly Catholic city within a country whose official religion was evangelical Protestantism. In October 1997, the New Yorker billed Karl Marx as the next big thinker, a man with much to teach us about political corruption, monopolization, alienation, inequality, and global market. But we can't have Marx without Friedrich Engels. Friedrich Engels was a German socialist and philosopher. He was worked together and collaboratively with Karl Marx and found the Marxism. Engels may have proudly accepted this status. Marx and Engels jointly wrote a preface to every new edition of the Communist Manifesto on its frequent republication in several languages to the 1883 German edition, published soon after Marx's death. Then, what is Marxism? Marxism is a general theory of the world in which we live and of human society as a part of that world. And as we have seen that Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels worked together in this project, in this work, and they found theory during the middle and later part of last century. The philosophy of Marxism is materialism. It analyzes class struggle and advocates for a transition to a classless society through the abolition of private properties and the means of production. Marxism is grounded in materialism and the critique of political economy. According to Vladimir Lenin, there are three sources and three component part of Marxism. First is the materialist philosophy. Second is critique of political economy and the socialist politics. Then Marxism gave various terms, and first is bourgeois, means the class of people in bourgeois society who own the social means of production as their private properties, for example, as capital. Then capitalism, the socio-economic system where social relations are based on commodities for exchange, in particular private ownership of the means of production and on the exploitation of wage labor. Then proletariat, the proletariat is that class in society which lives entirely from the sale of its labor power and does not draw profit from any kind of capital, whose will and woe, whose life and death, whose sole existence depend on the demand for labor. Then Marxist literary criticism, it has founded by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. In the preface to a contribution to the critique of political economy, Karl Marx sets forth one of the basic notions of Marxist literary criticism, the notion of the superstructure. The apparent discrepancy between the relative autonomy of the art and economic determination has been problematic for Marxism. Mainstream Marxist literary criticism attempts to reconcile this discrepancy by maintaining that works of literature do not immediately reflect ideological and economic factor, but rather are the result of a whole series of levels and mediate between the literary work and the capitalist economy. Similarly, proletarian literature or the committed literature of the Marxists is considered to be not merely a passive reflection of a proletarian social relation. The proletarian writer reflects economic and social reality not merely by showing the effects of economic and social injustice upon individual personalities, but by creating characters whose typified typified the historic plight that many proletariats experience. Then there is two fundamental assumption of Marxist literary criticism, literary theory must be examined more closely. First is all cultural production is mediated by the substructure, and the second is the best literature actively attempt to promote social changes. Then there are two mainstream of Marxist criticism founded in 1916 and in 1917. First is Englesian Marxist criticism, and second is the Leninist Marxist criticism. So let's see both of them. First is Englesian Marxist criticism from the 1930s. However, a rich variety of Englesian Marxist criticism flourished either in exile or in a suppressed or ungrounded form. The group, now called the Russian Formalists, had flourished in the 1920s until disbanded by the party, and should be mentioned here even though their work is not strictly Marxist in spirit. And the prominent member of this group were Victor Shklovsky, Boris Tomasz, Tomaszewski, and Boris Yuchenko. Then Shklovsky gave one concept of defamiliarization or making strange, that hold that one of the main effect of the language in literature is the achievement of making the familiar word to look as a world totally new for us. As with the concept of defamiliarization, there is a careful distinction here between reality itself and its verbal representation in work of literature, so that we are stripped away from any notion that literature simply mirrors reality in documentary way. Then Leninist Marxist criticism, it founded with the thought of Lenin, the Russian revolutionary and politician. The significance of Lenin's strategic and tactical writing for the struggle of the working class has been recognized by proletarian parties and movement the world over. Hence, the ideology of the revolutionary proletariat is termed Marxism, Leninism. The definition of Leninism is Marxism of the era of imperialism and the proletarian revolution. To be more exact, Leninism is the theory and tactics of the proletarian revolution in general, the theory and tactics of dictatorship of the proletarian in particular. This simple truth has evaded Anderson in his search for a Western Marxism. The influence of Althusser. Much recent Marxist thinking on literature has been influenced by the work of the French Marxist theoretician Louis Althusser, and his contribution will become clear if we outline some of the key terms and concepts he introduced. He tried to introduce some key terms like determinism, ideology, repressive structure, relative autonomy, decentering, and ideological structures. His Englesian announcements do not censure Marxist tendency to imprison art and literature with economics. Nevertheless, it is intended to release literature in a high degree. Due to both his innovative perspective and reformulation of the Marxist vision of literature, Althusser could be considered a revisionist of Marxism. Then, what Marxist critics do? Peter Berry gave a five Marxist practice to know what Marxist critics do. First is they divide the literary work content in overt and covert, means surface and hidden. Then they make a relation between the hidden subject of the literary work with element. Marxist topics such as classic struggle, clashes of large historical forces, conflict between social classes, and so forth. Then another method used by Marxist critic is to relate to the concept of work to the social class status of the author. Then a third Marxist method is to explain the nature of a whole literary genre in terms of the social period which produced it. Then a fourth Marxist practice is to relate the literary work to the social assumption of the time in which it is consumed, a strategy which is used particularly in the later variant of Marxist criticism known as cultural materialism. And a fifth Marxist practice is the politicization of literary form, that is, the claim that literary form are themselves determined by political circumstances. So, in summary, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels' work laid the foundation for Marxism, a theory encompassing philosophy, economics, and literary criticism. Their influence is evident in a field like political economy and the analysis of literature. Marxist literary criticism delve into hidden dimensions of literary work, connecting them to class struggle, historical forces, and social context. While different branches of Marxism exist, they share the core principle of materialism, critique of political economy, and socialist political, shaping our understanding of society, economics, and literature. These are the references. Thank you. If you have any question, then you can ask.
Gayatri, my question is that in what ways does Marxist analysis influence economic and political discourse today?
In today's time, Marxist theory analyze and it influence on the it it influence and give light to the critical perspective of people towards the social issue of today's time, like unequal wealth distribution, then capitalism, the problem of capitalism, and then the class distribution. These all are the major. These all are the that influenced by Marxist analysis in today.
Who's next? Put your question in comment and you reply the comment.
Okay, sir.
Next you can do.
Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today is third day of presentation season. Fourth day of presentation season 3. And today's topic of my presentation is a representation of queer in cinema. This is my personal information. These are some points to ponder which I am going to discuss in this presentation. First, let's understand what is queer theory. According to Anna Maria Jagosa, since the early 1990s, the term queer has been strategically taken up to significant a wide-ranging and unmethodically resistance to normative modes of sex, gender, and sexuality. Although this use of queer remarks a process of resignificance as a new meaning and values are associated with what was once a term of homophobic abuse. There is always an important sense in which queer maintains, even in changed illocutionary circumstances, its originally charge of shame. The term queer is a necessarily indeterminate, taking on different and sometimes contradictory meaning in different archetypes. Sometimes queer is synonymous with lesbian, gay, for which it becomes a convenient shorthand. At other times, it refers to generation or even fashion-led diction between old-style lesbian and gay and new-style sexual outlaws. A queer theory seeks to, these are some points which a queer theory seeks, like support people in their expression of homosexuality, desire and building gay and lesbian lifestyles, contract homophobic identities, promote the emancipation of homosexuality, be co-sexual, men and women are on equal footing. The term queer is now used to mean both gay and lesbians. Promote the demands and fight for sexual justice as part of social justice. So, queer representation in cinema, like cinema is a medium to convey powerful messages in society. Cinema is a powerful medium to catalyze social changes. Like other arts forms, cinema is a both part of social reality and also a medium of portraying it. Films have subtle influence on society's way of thinking. Cinema has undoubtedly contributed a lot to a queer movement in India. Like we also have this OTT platforms nowadays and also a social media. Social media influence a lot, and representation of queer through social media is also one thing we have to notice nowadays. Uh, Sexual minorities consist all of those people who fall under the categories of lesbians, gays, bisexual, and transgender, like LGBTQ+. Projection of gender stereotypes in film forms a society's perception of gender roles. The oversaturation of gender stereotype in the films result the misrepresentation of gender roles, which gets embedded in human mind and it's passed on from generation to generation as an acceptable view. Lately, the portrayal of queer people in films have found some sensitive and realistic representation by directors who have tried to carve out a unique space for a representation of queer people through cinema. So I choose two movies. One is from Bollywood, Heart of Bollywood and Indian cinema, and one is from Western cinema. So one from Bollywood is Aligarh, which is directed by Hansal Mehta. So Indian cinema caters to almost all genres and screens all type of issues prevailing in our society. The audience also welcome the sensitive issue which are mirrored in the cinemas or in films. So this Aligarh Films is also released on OTT platform as well as on theater as well. And now it is available on Amazon Prime and Geo Cinema. So yeah, OTTs plays a vital role representing films or anything political or social issues. Aligarh is also one of such movie which has gained the popularity worldwide for its one of the kind and novel theme of at least Hindu film industry. The story is not fiction is one. So this story is based on a real person who is Chandrajut Simar was there, one person who is a professor of Aligarh University. So it is based on the painful sag of professor of Marathi language working at the reputed Aligarh Muslim University. The director Hansal Mehta has very minutely worked upon the social political ideologies of the authorities of AMU, Aligarh Muslim University, and has represented them brilliantly in the movies. So this movie is basically based on a person, a professor who is a Marathi language professor and who is gay. And movie starts with the scene of they were having a loving scene, and some journalist breaking in his house and trying to shoot their personal things. But at the same time, the journalist came, and at the same time, some authorities from Aligarh Muslim University, they are also there. So he was confused that I didn't mention or I didn't call them to there. So that was a case of this professor.
So Manoj Bajpayee has beautifully portrayed the character of Professor Siras in the movie and has completely justified the character of 60, 40-year-old professor who undergoes the disgrace of being homosexual. He puts forward his argument in the court that actions taken by the university has violated the rules of apex court in India, which ensure the right of privacy, and the order of the Delhi High Court is also violence as homosexual was discriminalized. So there is a law like we cannot enter in private space of someone else. So journalists were breaking in his house and they were trying to shoot their personal things. So that was a case. And Rajkumar Rao was playing a young journalist, Deepu Sebastian, who develops a strong bond with Siras and take his case to the court. Deepu's sympathetic attitude towards him comes to a relief to him. Time of turmoil when he's direly needed somebody to tell something and to convince or to confront things. Like he was not hesitate to this Deepu Sebastian. So he was saying all the incidents what happened that night to Deepu. Meenakshi Shide, so she is a critic of film industry. She remarks that, I quote, Aligarh is a masterfully directed, it is a rare film that courageously stands for human rights, including those of homosexuals, yet offers a quite distributed perspective. So another movie from Hollywood is this Red, White, and Royal Blood. So I chosen two movies which represent homosexuality and as well as the gay, and these both movies have some similarities and have many differences. Like there is only some similarities, but there are many differences. Like in this movie, Red, White, and Royal Blue, they were accepting, like their family were accepting them, and this. Who is the character like Alex and Henry. Alex was a president's son, and Henry was a prince. But in that, we have to see that like Henry's royal blood parents were not accepting him as a having a relationship with a boy. So this July 2023 recent movie, and it is directed by Matthew Lopez. So this movie is based on a book same name, Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is also written by Cassie M. Quist, and she's also a queer person. The story follows Alex Claire Montias, who is the son of first female American president, and his developing relationship with Henry, the Prince of Wales. So this movie, or we can say a story, starts with enemies to lover. Like they were enemies at the first sight, and after developing this interest of both of them, they were becoming a lover. Alex and Henry initially dislike for each other, boils over the catchy's medium attention after they ruin the cake of royal wedding, and to try to limit the diplomatic and medic fall of out, the two have to pretend to be a friend, and they discover that they are having feelings for each other. Like Alex is a bisexual and Henry is a gay. So who is a prince? He was a gay, and Alex, who is a son of president, he was a bisexual. In Red, White, and Royal Blue, Alex and Henry does not just avoid an international diplomatic disaster by falling in love. They give voice to a desires to queer and diverse youth who wants to see a happy ever after, and that looks like them representing on the page and the screen. So, Aligarh movie ends with the death of Siras, who is a professor, and he died in that movie in the last scene. And this movie has a happily ending. So in this movie, end was like royal blood was. This Henry, he trying to convince his parents or majesty and everyone, but they were not happy with their marriage, or we can say their relationship. And in the end, they were crowd outside, like they were supporting them, these people who are having a relationship, and because of that support, they came out. Nefitha and her co-authors observes that reader responds to queer representation on red, white, and royal blue. So this paragraph is based on how reader responds to this book. This book is widely selling or also a bestseller of the time. Red, White, and Royal Blue is the instance of a queer books written by a queer author and presented the predominance of LGBTQ plus character in the story. It indicates the novel is supported to meet the reader's expectations towards queer representation in the literary work. We also have a works of Virginia Woolf like Orlando, and also we have a literary authors like Oscar Wilde. They were also gay, or we can say queer people. This is one of those books that leaves you hopeful, while at the same time has you wishing that someone could send you love letters that represent the overreaching themes of your romance. The characters are complex and vulnerable, and the world represented within it is one that at times can seem removed but altogether possible. According to Len Kumoto, he is also a gay writer, and he write a review of this movie, Red, White, and Royal Blue. So he was having a gay perception, or he was a gay. So here is his feeling towards this movie. So I was describing his words. We are living in the golden era of LGBTQ plus movie and TVs, and I have been binge watching all the queer content I never got to see grow up. Most recently, I watched the latest season of Heartstopper. So this is also a queer web series, which is also based on the web, we can say a book series of Heartstopper, as well as the movie Red, White, and Royal Blue. But while watching the sex and kissing scene in both, I found myself nervously holding my breath, or even holding down or looking down. That's when I came to disturbing realization. Nearly 8 years since I came out of the closet, seeing physical queer intimacy on mainstream TV still make me uncomfortable. So he was also a gay person, and while watching this movie, he also feel that this is uncomfortable to watch. But in the end, he says, I'm so happy that the next generation of queer people might grow up seeing people like them being physically intimate with each other. Maybe when they start dating, they wouldn't automatically look over their shoulder when they hold heads with the person they are with. Maybe they will know that they deserve happiness and will not accept relationship surrounds in secrecy. And maybe they will teach me a thing or two about not holding my breath when I see us expressing love out loud. So he was right. Like he was having this thing in mind. Like this is a taboo kind of topic. We all know that in India it is a lot. And he was also trying to say that I am a person, and though I feel uncomfortable, but he was happy that seeing these people who are a next generation gay people or lesbian people, they were accepting their identity as publicly. So here is when we know that in last Tuesday there is a verdict of court, and verdict of same-sex marriages are allowed in India or not. So this is one we can say a video. Let me just play that.
The much-awaited judgment regarding the issue of same-sex marriage has been pronounced today on 17th of October. The Constitution Bench has pronounced 4 judgments written by CJI D.Y. Chandrachud, Justices S.K. Kaul, Ravindra Bhatt and P.S. Narasimha respectively, with Justice Hima Kohli concurring with the view of Justice Bhatt. The much awaited judgment regarding the issue of same sex marriage has been pronounced today on 17th of October. The Constitution Bench has pronounced 4 judgments written by CJI D.Y. Chandrachud, Justices S.K. Kaul, Ravindra Bhatt, and P.S. Narasimha, respectively, with Justice Hima Kohli concurring with the view of Justice Bhatt. The Supreme Court has refused to grant legal recognition for queer marriages in India. But at the same time, 4 out of the 5 judges on the bench have agreed to direct the Union of India to constitute a committee to examine the rights of persons in queer union without legal recognition of their relationship as a marriage. CJIDY Chandrachud held that the court could not strike down the provisions of the Special Marriage Act because of institutional limitations, and only the parliament can do that. Regarding the rights on adoption, he held in his judgment that unmarried couples, including queer couples, could jointly adopt a child. However, the Supreme Court declined the right of adoption to queer couples by a 3:2 majority. Justice Paul also held that it was for the parliament to decide if queer unions are to be included in the Special Marriage Act. On the other hand, Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt opposed the judgment of the CJI and stated that an entitlement of legal union of marriage could only be through enacted law. But he also concluded that the union shall set up a high-powered committee to examine the rights and benefits to queer couples. Justice P.S. Narasimha stated that the right to marriage is a statutory right and it would not be constitutionally permissible to recognize a right to civil union which looks like a marriage. For updates on this issue, stay tuned to Live Law.
Okay, so as you watch this video, so this was a verdict of Supreme Court, and they put all the things to Parliament, or we can say a High Court. So some people from this community are happy, and some people are not happy. Like they were opposing this verdict, and they were supporting CGI, like Chandrachud, and they were saying that is that the things we have to go through. And I think it can be a reason for these community people were going outside of India, so for their legal rights, or we can say for marriages and other things. So that can be a reason.
The much awaited judgment.
In conclusion, it is unfortunate that people back then did not realize that being gay was not something that needed to be hidden behind the curtains. Luckily, Hollywood nowadays has been somewhat comfortable with LGBTQ plus characters in films. More and more films are now available to depict homosexuality in an accurate and positive light. With this progress, LGBTQ plus films are anticipated to not paint gays as a victim of their own sins, but as a diverse group of individuals whose differences and triumphs should be celebrated and not shunned or ignored. Taking Hindi cinema's popularity in consideration, the industry is contributing towards mainstreaming the queer culture in India. Homosexuality is addressed to be no more a taboo in many films of the recent era. Also, many other vernacular in language cinema industries have started picking up LGBTQ theme within it. While advertising such a films, they doesn't use a word of queer, but which itself is to be looked at a paradigm shift. When suggestions for filmmakers are to be considered, the filmmakers might also have to add more voice to the bisexual representation in the films. So this are some references which I have used in my presentation. Thank you. Now, if you have any question, then you can ask.
Drashti, my question is, as the perception of queer in is changing in the recent Indian cinema, is it same for the Indian society?
Okay, so like that was an amazing question, Ghanshyam. Thank you. So in Indian cinemas, like they were using this queer, or we can say a representation of queer, but in Indian society, it is still a taboo. like no one were talking in Indian society. Uh, we have a taboo of sex, like we are also not mentioning sex or other things. But at the same time we have this kind of taboos, they were not accepting peoples from another, transgenders or other LGBTQ community people. They were not accepting them. So yeah, we can say that it is not changing the perspective of society or Indian society towards these people.
Drashti, what challenges still exist for queer representation in cinema?
Okay. So they are trying to convey the people, like they are representing queer in cinema, but though they are not openly telling people to look at the LGBTQ community like that. And most of the movies which we have watched, that they were trying to create this character as a, we can say, a comic character, or they are victims, or they are tragic characters. But in those movies, like there were serious movies about this topic. Aligarh is also showing the how people of that community were suffering in Indian society. And Red, White, and Royal Blue is trying to say that how royal blood, or we can say high class people, were not also accepting these kind of things. And these are some challenges which they are might felt in today's time as well. So there is a situation of same, like they were in past or in present, situation is same for these people. Thank you. I hope you are satisfied with my answer. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bhavyata, and today is the fourth day of our presentation. And I will present a presentation on reading cyber feminism in social media. So let's start. Uh, Here is my personal information. Table of content. What is cyberfeminism? History of cyberfeminism. Where is feminism in cyberfeminism? Cyberfeminism in social media and references. What is cyberfeminism? Uh, According to Heather M. Crandall, cyberfeminism, which examines women's relationship to the internet, considers issues such as how power operates in online spaces, who has access to digital technologies, and how the designs of online architecture may reproduce gender inequalities. Here chat I also mentioned the definition from chat gpt. It gives me a really good definition about the cyber feminism. In 1994 in britain, Sadi Plant, the director of the Cybernetic Culture Research Unit, coined the term cyber feminism, and the we can see a pioneer of this cyber feminism is Donna Haraway. In this, Sadie Plant used to use this term to define the work of feminists interested in exploring critique and theorizing cyberspaces, the internet, and new media technologies. The growth of third wave feminism is closely tied to the development of cyber feminism. In 20th century, second wave feminism, the precu- precursor to contemporary feminist movement, began in 1970 and focused on women's equal right following the first wave. Cyber feminism initially aimed to assist younger women who are technologically proficient, primarily from middle class, Western, and white background. Here is a brief history of cyber feminism. Main one was the Donna Haraway of 1977, by writing that in 1990 cyber feminism started and acquired an international impact. During this time, Donna Haraway started cyber feminism. Haraway deployed the cyber metaphor to challenge feminists to participate in politics that is beyond essential and naturalism, within which she called the informatic of domination. Haraway's manifesto aimed at justify feminist hesitation to acknowledge their situation. Haraway noted that people lived in a period where circuits are and wire were gained ground instead of flesh. It was time they appreciate the cybergilization that was holding ground in different fields of advancing technology. According to Haraway, cyborg represented a postmodern utopia of world without gender that has no beginning. Uh, uh, Here I takes article from Lord Audrey. In article, I take some reference that in this article, world of cyber feminism focus on the diverse practicing of cyber girl group of here he talk about a group of girl on the internet. It highlights the creative and often humorous nature of these feminist communities, but notes their tendency to avoid deep political critique in favor of direct expression through art and interaction. The text questioned that limited presence of women in leadership roles in the digital world and the persist gender structures within technology field. It suggests that the potent fusion of the creative of girl interest internet artists with engaged political theory and practice could open new avenues for feminist activism in the digital space, challenging the prevailing status quo. Uh, Online harassment often target women. We can see the rather than male, female are more targeted in the social media or online platform. Discussion about politics, women in online space are sometimes seen as outsiders in what's considered a male domain. When it comes to gender related issue, some well-known female activists and bloggers have chosen to shut down their online accounts because of the harassment they face. Cyber feminism in social media. Here I take article from that article. He gave the example that cyber gender harassment show that it routinely involves threats of rape and other forms of sexual violence. It often reduces targeted women to sexual objects and includes humiliating comments that reinforce gender constructed stereotypes such as who let I quote who let this woman out of the kitchen, and why don't you make yourself useful and go have a baby. The online abuse can be more vicious if targeted women are lesbian. Here I take another example of Me Too movement started by Tarana Burke in 2006. The aim of this Me Too movement is sexual harassment and abuse within focus of supporting survivors, holding perpe- uh, perpetrators accountable, and challenging social norms. The movement has prompt survivors to share their stories and seek justice. This special issue on the Me Too movement explored the widespread nature of sexual harassment, challenges traditional categories, and emphasizes social issues like patriarchy. Uh, Healing from abuse involves accountably and changing how we talk about it, both in therapy and in broader conversations. Here, I take another example of metaverse and hate. In this example, a lady name is Nina Jane Patel, who was sexually abused by within 60 seconds in the metaverse. In the movement, physiotherapists and metaverse research at Kabul intersocial and live events venue the platform Horizon World to study user behavior on metaverse. She wrote about that her horrifying experience of getting virtually gang raped by male avatars in a blog spot within 60 seconds of joining. I quote, I was verbally and sexually harassed. Three to four males avatar with male voices, essentially, but virtually gang raped my avatar and took photos. As I tried to get away, they yelled, "Don't!" And they say, I quote, "Don't pretend you didn't love it and go rub yourself off the photo." She all these things she write in this blog. In this metaverse, when users is touched by another use, the hand controls vibrant, which encrypted by users as a very disorienting and even disturbing physics experience during a virtual assault. When Patel wrote about her experience on a meta group and shared she was virtually gang raped by other avatar. The top responses to her post were that don't choose a female avatar and don't be stupid, it wasn't a real. That many of people comment on the post that domain try to domain a female, that don't choose a female avatar. To conclude that in cyber feminism, in social media fights for girls and female to equality in this online, it tackles issue like sexual assault and gender stereotypes by supporting the cyber feminism, cyber feminist cause. We can make that internet a fair platform for all, male and female both. Here is my references. Now you can ask me a question.
So, Bhavyata, my question is that are there notable differences or similarities between cyberfeminism in social media and traditional feminist movement, and how do they complement each other?
uh, uh, Cyber feminism in social media and traditional method of feminism both have some same aim to for gender equality, but uh, they both have some different methods. That social media is great for fast communication and Rather, traditional feminism involves some in prison action. They can work together to make a bigger impact and creative and more equally for all.
Bhavyata, how can cyberfeminism be harnessed as a tool for empowerment in the digital age, and what challenges may arise in these efforts?
Uh, Cyberfeminism can be a powerful tool for empowerment and advocate for women in this digital era. It allows women to use internet or online platform and social media to raise their voice and share their story and support one and another one. This can lead to positive change and more gender equality. But there are some difficulties also that some women may not have some data or internet for their use, and some so they might miss out for some this, and the internet can sometimes be unfriendly for all some lady or a woman that with this use of internet or social media or online platform, the people being the harass her, try to harass or abuse her. So while cyber feminism is a good things, we need to solve these problems to make it work for everyone. So thank you for listening.
Very good evening to you all. I am Jani, and today I'm going to deal with the topic zoo criticism. Here is the points which I'm going to deal with today. The first is definition. National Geographic defines zoo as a zoo is a place where animals live in a captivity and are put on display for people to view. The word zoo is a short for zoological park. History of zoo. The history of zoo can be divided into three major parts, and the first one is the period of kings and excuse me. The first one is the period of kings and emperors, in which there is the discussion about the how emperors have started giving very royal animals to each other as a gift, and the gift culture afterwards led to the zoo idea. The William the Conqueror, Henry the First, Henry the First started extending the all the animals from the him side that were including camels, leopard, lions, lynx, owls, and Porcupine. In the 13th century, diplomatic gifts were swelled as the royal menagerie, such as the three leopards from Emperor Frederick II, a white bear from the ruler Norway, and an elephant from the ruler of France. Later on, France became the culture of zoo as it started showing the animals in the cage, and they were being put in the as a showcase of their empire. The second period is of the scientists and the history of zoo. In the history of zoo, the first zoo created only for scientific purpose was the London Zoo in 1828, established by the Zoological Society of London. In the 1860, the Central Park Zoo was the first built in the United States, and Philadelphia Zoo following in 1874. The period of a public audience in the later on in the 16th century, British royal menageries opened to the public under Elizabeth I. In the 18th century, Emperor Francis I also made his private menageries accessible to the public. Zoological gardens like Central Park and the Philadelphia zoos later embraced the public open to the all design. Zoo criticism. Zoo criticism explored the reflection of the human-animal relationship in literature as well in the society. However, it's important to emphasize that zoo criticism goes beyond merely examining animals in the literary works. Uh, as Graham Hagen and as Graham Hagen and Helen Tiffin have said, zoo criticism, as we might term its practice in literary studies, it concerned not just with animal representation but also with animal rights. As we can also see that how the Christianity and in the biblical references, the God has said this. The God's declaration in the first 26 verses of the Genesis that I quote, be careful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. So this is how the Genesis claims that human has right over all the things that are that is on the earth. So this is how there is the sad reality behind the zoos that are lying in the cages in the behind the bars. That the animals, we find that it is very entertaining to us, but it is not so. We can remember that how we are locked in the during the corona times, and we were spending times, we were even having the mobile phones and all the electronic devices, as well the books also. But have you ever thought about the things that how animals are living in the living in the zoo, and they are spending their life, they all are same, but the people and the viewer are changing, and they many times they are being harassed by the people. Prominent works within the lens of zoo criticism, as remarked by Aarti from the book Post-Colonial Criticism, that the opening chapter of part 2, titled Ivory and Elephants, astutely revisits the foundational text of a post-colonial analysis, Heart of Darkness, to explore the dehumanization of Africans and the notable absence of elephants in the novella stewarded with ivory. Hedgen and Tiffin place Joseph Conrad's novella alongside the colonial hunting accounts, a welcome maneuver that shows the reader how Europeans used elephants hunting as an opportunity to display the technological power, technological prowess, and managerial control over the colonies. We also have seen throughout the history that how people, how the emperor, how the kings are showing their powers among the animals by hunting them and by killing them. So I want to say that this is not power. Hurting something that is that cannot speak, that cannot express, and to kill them, it is not power, in my opinion. Aarti considers George Orwell's essay, Shooting an Elephant, as the narrator's embarrassed reflection on his motivations for shooting a rough element. Sorry, a rough elephant would have made an excellent counterpoint to the posturing the hunting accounts that tie European masculinity and imperial order to the killing of animals. She says it would seem that zoo criticism's reparative potential in the human sphere lies in its privileging of the body as a source of knowledge. Yet it is unclear how reading the elephant body should change our reading of the raised and sexed human body. Animal welfare and animal rights, we all know about the animal welfare and animal rights, that the animal welfare refers to the state of the animal, the treatment and an animal receives is covered by other terms such as animal care, animal husbandry, and human treatment. As PETA defines animal rights, animal rights means that animals are not ours to use for food, clothing, entertainment, or experimentation. Animal welfare allows these uses as long as human guidelines are followed. Jail without bars. We also considered that national parks are not zoo, but the very news from nowadays shows that the national parks are also the zoo, are also the cage without the bars. Here is the video that how people are being with the animals. as a tool uh, as a tool for entertainment. The same thing which is discussed by the movie Sherni, in which there is a forest officer, and she how she fights with the politics, and tries to save the tigress and her cubs, but unfortunately she fails. So one can say that this is the story of a tigress of Avani, and when she was hunting the Maharashtrian people.
You can now skip next. We already used 12 minutes.
Okay, sir. So here is the details of the things that have the government has spared the hectares of the land to the private companies such as Reliance company. And here's the conclusion. In the summary, zoo criticism highlights the ethical conservation concerns relate to the animal in captivity, challenging us to the balance conservation efforts with the welfare and rights of captive animals. It emphasized the need for the ethical treatment, adequate living conditions, and the focus on preserving natural habitats. Zoo criticism encourages a revolution of our relationship with the animal in captivity and a commitment to the ethical practice and conservation. That's it from my side. Here is my work cited. And if there is any question,
Avni, what do you think that there are any better alternatives to captivate animals?
as per my opinion, captivating animal is a totally wrong idea. But even though if we are enough mature to know about the more things about the animal, we can do it digitally. Like nowadays, we are having all the facilities online and digitally. So this is how we can also use the zoo. We have phones and we can watch the all the details about the bears and lions in the phone more betterly from the phone, like even though we are observing zoo, we are not able to, or we are not able to see the things, observe the things that we are able to in the phones. So we can do it digitally.
Only my question is that is there a way to promote sustainable wildlife tourism that benefits both animal and local communities while minimizing harm to ecosystems?
Yes, there is a way that I have already discussed that while using digital platforms, we can know about the animals more and more. And even without it, also we can use about the wildlife tourism with the minimum with the minimum harm causing to the animals. So this is how we can sustain together. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Myself Anjali Rathod. Today is the fourth day of presentation in which I am going to present a presentation on my topic deconstruction in literary theory and analytical exploration. Uh, Here is a table of contents in which I am going to deal in a whole entire presentation in this topic. About introduction of the author Jacques Derrida, origins of deconstruction, what is deconstruction, difference between phonocentrism and logocentrism, postmodernism and post-structuralism. Jacques Derrida. Jacques Derrida was French philosopher, theorist, and writer. He was born to Sephardic Jewish parents in French governed Algeria. He studies philosophy at the elite school ENS in Paris. In 1967, Derrida arrived as a philosopher of world importance. He published three momentous texts of grammatology, writing and difference, and speech and phenomena. In 1967, Derrida introduced his theory of deconstruction. Deconstruction has frequently been the subject of some controversies. When Derrida was awarded an honorary doctorate at Cambridge in 1992, there were howls of protest from many analytic philosophers. Jacques Derrida was a renowned French philosopher known for his influential work in the field of deconstruction. His areas of study include philosophy, literary criticism, and literary theory. Origin of deconstruction. The term deconstruction is related to the French verb deconstruire, which in English connotes to undo the improvement of or the development of to take to pieces. In philosophy, the word deconstruction was coined by the French philosopher Jacques Derrida in the late 1960s as response to the idea of destructive analysis rendered by the German word destruction of Martin Heidegger, which literally means destruction or rebuilding. The word deconstruction is genealogically linked to Heidegger. Instead of applying Heidegger's term of destruction to textual readings, Derrida opted for the term deconstruction. Derrida's main influence for the development of this theory was from the theorist Martin Heidegger. In his work called Being and Time, Heidegger talks about destructuring of previous ontological concepts such as time, history, matter, etc., in order to better understand them. Since the word deconstruction has entered the philosophical, literary, and political vocabulary, though it excited before, at least in grammatical and architectural jargon. Derrida's approach extended beyond mere analysis, leading to the creation of a comprehensive and impactful theoretical framework. So, what is deconstruction? The term deconstruction is difficult and confusing to define. Deconstruction is variously defined by Derrida. Among his descriptions is the allusion to structure as he explains himself. When he used the word deconstruction the first time, there was the dominance of structuralism. Deconstruction was considered then at the same time to be a structuralist and anti-structuralist gesture. Derrida's deconstruction was inspired by what Heidegger calls the destruction of the philosophy's traditions. He sought to apply deconstruction to textual reading in place of Heidegger's destruction, which was referring to a process of exploring the categories and concepts that tradition has imposed on a word and the history behind them. So, deconstruction is a philosophical approach and analytical method developed by Jacques Derrida. It involves critically analyzing and questioning the underlying assumptions, binary oppositions, and hierarchical distinctions in text and other forms of discourse. Derrida's view, deconstruction is neither a philosophy, not a doctrine, nor a method, nor a discipline, but only what happens if it happens. Deconstruction is a philosophical, theoretical analysis, a critical outlook concerned with the relationship between text and meaning. So, it is a mode of criticism and analytical inquiry that denotes the pursuing of the meaning of a text to the point of exposing the supposed contradictions and internal oppositions upon which it is founded. Deconstruction is a kind of philosophical framework concerned with reading between the lines. So, deconstructions aim to reveal the complexities and contradictions within these structures, uh, challenging fixed meaning and highlighting the ambiguity and multiplicity of interpretations. It established the conventional interpretations of a text, revealing hidden meanings and encouraging a more nuanced underlying of language and ideas. So, the difference between phonocentrism and logocentrism. So, the difference between phonocentrism and logocentrism is that the phonocentrism is the word spoken and the logocentrism is the word written. According to Derrida, when speech fails to protect presence, writing becomes necessary. In this case, writing then serves as a supplement which takes the place of speech. Phonocentrism focuses on the preference for spoken language over writing, while logocentrism encompasses a broader philosophical perspective, emphasizing the brief in a central fixed meaning or presence in language and reality. Both concepts have been significant targets of deconstructive analysis. So, in deconstruction, binary oppositions. So, in binary opposition, world has binary opposites like good, evil, black, white, black, man, woman, God, devil, etc. So Derrida argued that philosophical traditions were largely marginalized with the application of deconstruction. So by deconstructing these binary oppositions, we are able to uncover the foundation. Uh, the theoretical framework in his in Jacques Derrida's theoretical framework, postmodernism and post-structuralism. So, postmodernism in that period, 19th and 20th century, a period that encompasses more than literature, and postmodernism spanning in the 19th and 20th centuries. It is not just about literature. It influenced art, architecture, and cultural too. It registered modernism's ideals, questioning higher culture, uh, higher culture and enlightenment. Postmodernism challenged established truths, making people rethink world histories. So uh, post-structuralism emerged in the mid 20th century and challenged the notion of stable meanings and fixed identities in language and culture. The first half of the 20th century in literary studies was interested by the form and structure of literary texts. In general, structuralism is a belief that reflects events which are explainable by structures, data, and other phenomena below the surface. For the structuralist, reality is a system of individual parts which are irreducible units where the parts are more real than the whole matter. Post-structuralism, which deviates from structuralism, became a reaction to it. While structuralists sought a structure of the text, the post-structuralist Derrida, for example, denies the possibility of such a structure. Derrida's deconstruction, which is always called together with post-structuralism, gives us new ways of thinking. He has made great efforts in undermining the traditional understanding of truth. The post-structuralists are claiming that the real truth is impossible to know. The post-structuralist is pessimistic concerning the reader's ability to confirm belief and thereby say that he knows something. Post-structuralism is a philosophical mode of thought which believes that in the world there is no reality, only manufactured reality constructed by words. In literary theory, structuralists analyze the narrative material by examining the underlying invariant structure. Structuralist critics mention that the value of a literary text can lie only in new structure. Deconstruction, a term associated with the work of philosopher Jacques Derrida, is a method within post-structuralism that aims to analyze the inherent contradictions and hierarchies in text and other forms of communication. In deconstruction, texts are seen as complex systems of meanings where language constantly undermines fixed meanings. It emphasizes the instability of language and the impossibility of fully capturing a single objective interpretations of a text. Conclusion. At the last, to the conclude, deconstruction emerged from the philosophy, arts and architecture of the 1960s. In literary theory poses the opposite to hermeneutics, which seeks justification of a literary interpretations in the wording of the text in question. Deconstruction is focused on contradictions included in the text. Deconstruction is to be located in the hybrid stream of post-structuralism that labels several tendencies that define themselves in opposition to structuralism. Structuralism primarily being concerned with the search for a scheme and its governing rules. So here is the references. Now, if you any question, then ask me.
Anjali, what are the emerging pathways and hurdles that deconstruction faces in the 21st century, considering its intricate and dynamic nature?
In the 21st century, emerging pathways are digital adaptations, interdisciplinary integration, and global engagement in deconstruction, and in hurdles considering the digital integrated and dynamic nature in deconstruction faces in 21st century.
As you mentioned in your slide, Anjali, that how is deconstruction connect to other literary theories?
Yes, as I mentioned in my slide, deconstruction connected in various literary theories like postmodernism, post-structuralism, and also engages with feminist theory, Marxism, feminism, cyber feminism, and other critical frameworks to analyze power or power structures and societal influences on on languages and text in deconstruction in literary theories. Thank you. Hello everyone, I am Aarti Sarvaiya. Today is the fourth day of semester 3 presentation. In this today's topic, I am going to deal with this topic, role of sound in film. This is my personal information. Points to ponder. These are points which I am going to deal with. Introduction. Sound is important in production. Sound in a movie includes music, dialogue, sound effect, ambient noise, background noise, and soundtracks. Some sorts of sound is always used to enhance the movie's experience. Without sound, sound design, film would be a bland medium. Mood, atmosphere, and tone are vital components for compelling film. Sound enhances the visual as much as the visual complements the sound. Without sound, the movie or film is like a without life. Importance of sound in film. Sound design is a craft of combining every pieces of audio in film, including dialogue, sound effect, ambience, score, and soundtrack, to create a film's soundscape. In a film, music serves several important functions. It can influence a viewer's interpretation of scene, evoke a specific emotions, foreshadow certain events, identify a specific character, or link together a certain scenes of certain scenes or themes of a film. Music plays a crucial role in the film narrative because it is a primary vehicle to convey a wide range of emotion to audience, and it can be used to establish a mood or highlight a dramatic event. Sound also used to create several sense like horror and other things. uh, Eventual elements of sound design. First is ambience. Ambience refers to an environmental overall atmosphere. Background noise like a slight breeze or a falling leaves, which is provide information without overloading the audio. It's often the most subtle sound of element and sets of a scene. Dialogue. The actor's words are one of the things that make a movie a movie. Sound designer record dialogue during the principal photography with boom mic and lapel microphones, or using automated replacement in the post production stage. Sound effect for a footstep echoing on a pavement, paper tearing, rocket launching, basketball dribbling on a court. All these are audio effects, often serves as another layer of ambience.
it is a similar kind of thing like an MBS. Audio effects can range from the sound uh, in UFO blazing into space. Foley sound. Foley sound effects are recorded during the post production on a sound stage. Foley artists watch the film footage and use various material to recreate a specific sound. And voiceover. Voiceover is a narration from a character you hear off screen, usually a commentary on the scene or a story. Morgan Freeman, the most recognized narrator in film, famously pre-records his lines in a studio. The sound designer usually leads the record of the voiceover, which is added to the scenes during the editing process. Million Dollar Baby, a Shawshank Redemption, and Mark Pensions. These are some examples of voiceover films. Music. This is where composer and the sound designer collaborate. Music is also a part of sound design elements and types of sound. Uh, there are four types of sound. First is diegetic sound. Diegetic sound also sometimes refers to an as the objective sound. Objective sound consists of the sound of exist in a scene as a representation of acoustic and sonic element that exist in fictional world represented as a real life, as if the spectator was tangibly placed in the scene. Some example includes the sounds of includes in this like a sound of cars honking in a city, dogs barking, footstep, door closing, dialogue between people, music from a radio. Diegetic sound is a sound which one can speak and which is spoken by a people and which is emerges from the actions of a character. Non-diegetic sound is it is also refers as extra diegetic sound. um, uh, this sound is added added in the scene, and the example of non-diegetic sound includes the narration's voice, music score, and special sound effects. Third one is metadiegetic sound. One particular case of diegetic sound can occur if there is a need to present a subjective auditory scene from the point of view of character. This means that a sound that the audience is actually listening to a personal perspective of a character, and therefore an altered representation of a reality according to the state of mind of the character, ranging for the minor reaction to extreme imagination or hallucination. The specific concept of sound design is called metadiegetic sound and it was introduced by the Claudia Goldman. Um, in short, we can say that metadiegetic sound is a sound which is delivered from the side of the character who is played a role. And fourth one is honoric sound. A very common use of metadiegetic sound is representation of dream-like state from the perspective of character. This happens when the character is subject to a shocking event and starts perceiving reality as if it a dream, very close to perception of a state one has when one is about to faint. This use of sound is defined as a honoric sound from the ancient Greek onros, which means a dream. This term was first adopted by Vlada
Patrick, using honorific cinema to describe films that deal with a various kind of altered state of consciousness. A typical honorific moment is triggered by an event in a narration and slowly takes the character to a dreamlike state. Conclusion: the role of sound in film is multifaceted and inseparable, playing a crucial role in shaping the overall cinematic experience. It has a power to engage scene, evoke emotion, and immerse the audience in the story. These are the references. Thank you. Now you can ask me question.
According to you, what prior knowledge should a viewer have while watching a movie to understand lighting and music?
If the viewer have a knowledge about music and lighting, then music several times music provides or represents something inner voice of a character uh, or also sometimes music plays a vital role in a movie.
Aarti, my question is that what techniques are used in Foley artistry to create realistic sound effects in movies?
In artistry, Foley artistry creates used to create a realistic sound effect. They use a realistic tone, realistic elements, or realistic things in their movie. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the last one. A very quick feedback. Most of you did quite well today. Also in text and the citation part is improving, and everybody is now understanding to put in text as well as at the end things also. We had first one by Hina on montage and good information about Eisenstein, French, Soviet, American montage systems which are used in the films. In that case, or even in the last one, Aarti's sound, you should use some moving pictures or audio or some GIF at least, which goes on playing while you are talking about those things. So small video montage can be converted into GIF. So you don't require there any sound, but it can play as a montage while you talk about those things. Hetal also presented well on gender dynamics. Gopi's also was good. You can, but theoretically it was good. Like practically, if you try to see, then, for example, here only if you want to see that what lightings are required here, if you want to make this better, then what way the light is required and what will be the cost of that, what will be availability of those lights. So theoretically things are there, but practically when you get a chance to do the things, how feasible it looks like. So even if you have put 2-3 lamps, still we feel that the light is low. It doesn't give a proper glow on the face. With this, you have to put a different still light which throws on the face of the speaker. So that you can think of that what lighting can improve, or quality of lighting which will be better rather than the LED lamps which are used here. Any other lamp quality of light that can improve the things. If that happens, we get a solution to what we want in the classroom. When we do live recording in the class, we have lots of problems with these things. In the next semester, we will have your presentations, which will be recorded. So at that time also, you will see whether you take care of the lighting on the face, then on the screen there is a problem. something comes on the screen, and this, how the lighting can match there. So if we can reach to solutions through all this thing, then it is really useful presentation or learning also. Ghanshyam presented on digital humanities. It was good. Today morning also we had Trushali's presentation, and I made one remark from that. Because when you talk of this practices of digital humanities, what challenges are there? That becomes very important to be seen. And one of the major challenges that we face, or as if we are facing now practically as we try to see, is about digital portfolio. Digital portfolio presentations. And that is because of this, that technology keeps on changing. One of the limitations of this is that technology keeps on changing, and we do not upgrade with that. So if we see this, we started from 2010-11, this, and later on when we see some of this initial Google sites. So today we find that those sites are not opening. This Google site not found. This is what. Now, why is this happening? Because Google site updated their technology, and they told that now the previous platform, which is an older platform, will not work. So told everybody through email that you click on this button and upgrade your website. But as we human beings are so orthodox and out of date kind of people, so we don't read emails. After completing MA, I don't know how many of you will keep on reading your emails or keep on doing anything that is digital. The reality is that people are not doing that. So we have to face the reality. And so with this, I also sent WhatsApp messages to also many students. Some of them updated that, not all. Some of them, like in this group only, if you see, then one student, Parth Bhatt, he updated. So his site is available from that group. But other students, or many of the other students' sites are not available. So technology will keep on changing. If you want to keep your work in digital resource intact, then you will have to move to the new platform, which may be problematic. This is very simple thing, like a few pages are only there. If you have lots of material, archival of lots of things, then shifting all those things will become very rigorous task. You may have to hire so many people also to do that. You have to spend lots of money also when there is a mega project. So this is something that one can keep in mind. And showing this is this idea that when you also will not be a student and will be doing something else, I don't know how digital portfolios and other thing will be useful to you. If you are a teacher, it is very useful. But as we know that even those who are teachers are also not using. There are so many teachers, our students only last 10 years, but they don't use digital portfolio. There are a lot many awards and rewards given to teachers who use technology. And there are many young teachers getting those things also, but not our students. Though they are exposed to the latest technology when they study, but they are not able to carry on. So they fail to make a mark by even making something significant, which other teachers are doing, but they are not our students. The others are there. So though you are given an advantage, but later on carrying on with the thing is difficult. That is one of the challenges of digital humanities, or this also, that how people remain upgraded with those things. And sometimes lots of money is also required, lots of time is required for all this thing, and that also becomes significant part. Gayatri on Marxist was also good. Reference to Peter Berry's also was given there. Drashti also presented well on queer in cinema, and also connected with Supreme Court verdict of recent time. Morning also we had that, and I have posted that particular paragraph in a WhatsApp group, where very clearly the judge is telling that legislature will have to take care of the provisions to be made for the partners in the marriage there. So that part, it's very long, 366 pages there, but Wrinkle told that she is not able to find this part where this kinds of instructions are given. So I have posted that in WhatsApp also. That was there in the slide given by Drashti. That video was there where that point was mentioned also. Bhavyata on cyber feminism and social media. In such cases, you should do like small survey. You remember this? We had done this last time, I think. Yeah, when I have to make a presentation in this Gulf University on ChatGPT, so I quickly send a link and I asked some of you to tell me something survey, and then you can use 2-3 slides like that. So this kind of thing, like you have your classmates and you ask them that, are you bullied on social media? Why are you not on social media if there are people not there? Or somebody might have withdrawn, or why you are not active, or why you post only to friends and not to the other. Many questions, simple questions, and then you can prepare a kind of a small chart on that. That can be significantly very useful also, if that is how it is done. So small kind of chart you can prepare. So some real work it will represent. So in this cases, it is possible to do a small survey, and within 4 or 5 hours you get some data which can be used in the slide. Next time you have to keep in mind, everybody, that whenever there is something about contemporary, and you can ask somebody, let us take a small survey of 20 people as a representative group and see what result we are getting. Sometimes we get a very good outcome from that. Whatever we get, but it becomes very authentic also. It gives some authenticity to what we are saying. Avani's also was good on zoo criticism, which also is a very interesting idea. Zoo criticism. This word, how to write this word? There are lots of debate about those things because it is also a part of post-colonial criticism. And in that, let me see if I can. This book. So most of the people who refer to zoo criticism, they cite this work. You also have cited this work. Yeah, these writers are also there in your citation. So wherever you refer to, this might be cited. Graham Hagen and Helen Tiffin, their book, Post-Colonial Eco-Criticism. And within that, they are talking about zoo criticism. So if you see their table of content, there is zoo criticism written there without any hyphen, without any space. So they take like eco-criticism, we use it together. That way, zoo criticism also is used. So that spelling thing, and I think everybody follows from this book how to write zoo criticism. This word there. So it's a part of post-colonial eco-criticism, and within that it comes. So, but a good topic to look at this idea. There were very good questions also. Bhavyata asked about wildlife tourism and zoo criticism. So that also is a huge concern about the things. As we know that in Gir forest, there is this wildlife tourism, but it recently only opened. It is not open during monsoon. So now from here onwards up till summer, it will remain open. But as soon as again the monsoon time will come, so almost 3 to 4, 5 months, it remains shut down to anybody. No tourism is allowed in this space. So these are the actions which are taken for all the sanctuaries throughout the world, that what time it should be allowed, when people should not be allowed to go through the things. So that case of Gir only, because we are very near on the outskirts of Gir, that becomes very important point, that in that forest, people are not allowed to do road construction, so or railway line also. There is a very old narrow gauge line. People want broad gauge, people want better roads, but forest department will not allow. So more people will come, it will be troublesome to the zoo life or the animal life rather. It is not a zoo there, but the wildlife animal life can be there. So real example can be thought of, because we live on the outskirts of this lion sanctuary, which is the only one in the entire Asia. So we might be referring to or talking about that also. Anjali, good post-structuralism you talked about. And finally, last one, Aarti, on sound in the film. We referred to this, that you can give the example of some of the things also. Okay, so with this, we end today's session. And the final one will be on Monday. Your final presentation of this season will be on Monday on cultural studies.